Hi everyone, Anthony, Morgan's Training Academy. Today I'm just going to talk about 5 things that all of you should be doing every single day. And some of us have, problems. Some of us might have knee problems. Some might have hip problems, maybe shoulder problems. But keeping in mind that saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Well, movement is really important, especially after 30, because you start losing muscle mass, you start losing bone density, and so that's kind of what this video is about. Is so starting out with number 1, which is movement. Okay, well, movement. Parking my car a little further away and walking to the store, maybe going up a flight of stairs instead of taking an elevator or whatever it may be. But spend that time doing the stuff that you wouldn't normally do. We set for 8 hours a day sometimes, depending on what your workload is and where you work. If you're behind a desk, so having that movement. A lot of times, if you have a desk, sitting on one of the rubber balls so that your back is actually moving all the time. Put weights on your ankles if you're sitting on a desk. Start working your ankles. But you need that movement all the time. Now, if, say, like strength training, okay, which would be number 2. Strength training is trying to load my body. Maybe by carrying, I have things I move in and out of my store every day, which are, anywhere from 70 to 100 pounds. Well, every single day I move them in and I move them out, mainly because I'm loading my system, okay? Now, loading your system can be a lot of different things. It could be just, loading off your ankles, off your hips, maybe jumping, maybe jogging, just trying to do something that gives you that strength training to where, and you say, well, how's that going to help for my strength training? Well, it's making your bone density better so that if you do fall, you're not going to break anything. Now, the next one is going to be mobility. Now, mobility, if it hurts when I do this, there's a reason why it hurts that. That means that you're not working that enough. If you start to fall down, you go, oh, I sprained my wrist or I sprained my ankle. And usually the cause of that is because you're not stretching the ankle enough, you're not stretching your hips enough. And I have that tendency to where when I was 16, I got in a skiing accident and I tore my right leg out of socket. Well, it's bothered me my whole life, and to this day, I'm still tight in that one hip. Well, and I'm as guilty as the rest of you. I will say, well, I don't want to stretch it because it hurts. Well, that's just a cop-out. Start doing gentle stretches and try to keep those things mobile. If you don't keep your hips mobile, and you don't keep your ankles mobile, I used to stand a lot just with my ankle bent, and I would just stretch it. Everywhere I used to go, I would just be stretching all the time. And if you can't reach above your head, start working on that to where you can get that full range of motion to where if I'm here. Because once you get up in higher in age, you're going to depend on that. You don't want somebody else taking care of you. Now, the next thing, which is I guess you would say attitude or mindset. If we think that I can't do it because it hurts, then you'll never do it. So then when you get up into 80 years old, you're going to say, that's just inevitability that I'm just getting old and I'm going to die. Well, that's not true, okay? You try to keep pushing, try to keep working out things, working out your wrists, working out your fingers, constant mobility, and I do understand that there's individuals out there that say, well, I have arthritis in my elbow. Just because you have arthritis doesn't mean you need to stop moving it, because if you stop moving it, then you're going to really lose it. So, and I have problems with it, like it's my hip, and if I move it a certain place, it does hurt. But what is the other side of that? Okay, do I want a hip replacement? No, I don't. Do I want to replace my knees? No, I don't. Do I want to have a shoulder operation? No. So, you know, hanging is like I do all the time. Squatting, I'm squatting more and more, but I went through a knee injury here a while back, so I hadn't been doing as much. But spending time down on the floor, spending time rolling around the floor, spending time squatting, spending time kneeling position, just crawling around is going to help you tremendously. And learning how to get off the floor without using your hands. So these are all things that I work on, and you don't need much. I mean, about 10 minutes a day, and you could, you know, start improving your life greatly. Okay. The other thing is balance. Okay. Now, if I stand here and I just one leg stand. Okay. Now this is balance and coordination. I just stand here, and sometimes I do it when I'm in a store. And you just kind of balance, you know, sometimes pull your leg up a little bit higher, and you just stand here, and sometimes you can close your eyes, see what happens. As soon as I close my eyes, my balance starts going. So, but you still have to, you know, try to see what your limitations are. And so, you know, standing on one leg, okay, is going to help you a lot. Now, the younger people are like, oh, I can do that. Yeah, but if you don't continue to do it, you later on when you get up in age, you won't be able to do it. So now that you're like, you know, 20s and 30s, you still need to be working on it, because one day it's just you're gonna wake up and you're gonna go, what happened? How come I can't stretch? How come I can't, you know, I used to be able to put my arm behind my back. I used to be able to, you know, sit in cross-legged set. You know, what happens? Well, age happens. But just because we age doesn't mean that we have to give all this up. Now, so stretching, that's the other one that we have to continue to try to do. One of my guys that, you know, shoots a lot of videos with me, you know, Jeff, very flexible. He's got high kicks, which he spends a lot of time, you know, he'll do like 500 kicks, you know, in one setting. That's commitment, okay? And that's, if you're gonna do it, you've gotta be committed. You have to say, well, this is what I have to do. But, you know, getting used to just stretching your hands, stretching your fingers, okay? Stretching my arms, stretching behind my head, stretching your legs, stretching your hips, stretching your ankles. Your ankles are an important one, because if you step in a hole and you twist your ankle, that's usually what happens, is because the ankle's too tense. That's why I ended up hurting my knee, is because my hip flexor, my chiropractor hurt my hip flexor, and so then my knee gets tight, and so then I had an injury. So, but strength training, this is just another one for strength training. Get a baseball bat, okay? And there's a couple things you can do here, okay? One is just working this, okay? This is just, you know, and it doesn't take very long. It's what I call throttling. I will go like this, and I will pull that, and I pull. Okay, now this starts working forearms, and it works your grip. The other thing is, you know, I will just do spins. Okay, and you'll start feeling it. You know, don't do it too much, but, you know, start loading your system, something heavy. Take the time, about 10 minutes a day, and do something, okay? Don't just sit on the couch and watch TV. And trust me, I love sitting on the couch. I love watching TV. But for our health and for longevity, keep all of it up, okay? Keep all this stuff up to where I know my hands are constantly moving. You know, it can be working with a knife. It can be out splitting wood. You don't have to split wood like a maniac. You know, it may be you split a little bit of wood and you throw it in the back of the truck. Well, that's loading your legs. Okay. It may just be, you know, carrying your grandkid a lot more instead of just carrying them on your hip, carrying them in your arms, trying to load that. So there's things all day long that we could be doing to improve our health. And with me being in the martial arts, I run across that stuff every single day. But just don't overdo it, and start working into it slow, but start moving, okay? And thank you guys for subscribing to my channel, and thank you for the sharing my videos, and I'll see you in the next video.